First of all, thank you for doing this, Michelle. I really appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
time. And thank you for coming here as well, Ruby. So the intention of today's session is really about bringing you guys the real look into the real world. And I always say this, but I think university is a lot like a bubble. And because I've done it myself, and when I go into my real life, like a lot of things that I need to use the skills, I cannot really use it, whatever I learned from uni. Not in saying that uni is not good, just saying that they might not update as fast as they should be. And that's why we bring Michelle here today to share her real look into what is really required for accounting graduates like most of you here to succeed in life, because many of you have a hard time now, and I can see it, right? So Michelle, before we start, can you tell us a bit about your company? What does your company do, so everybody have a
Okay, we're not accountants, we're BAS agents. So we look after small businesses. We set them up with technology, and we're responsible for the lodgement of activity statements, single touch, and any of the other compliance issues that small business face. And we also heavily provide advisory services to businesses, especially if they're struggling. Technology, so since I've started with the practice, there's now a big move towards technology. AI, artificial intelligence, is really, really important. And having those skills are really important. The problem with artificial intelligence and any of the softwares, the software providers sell them as user-friendly, and they are if you know what you're doing. So, as I mentioned before, we specialise in one software, and that gives us an edge. So when we get a very messy file, we can turn around it very quick, clean it up very quickly for the client. So yeah, BAS services, we get the file ready for the accountant, and then the accountants do the tax returns.
Got you. And because a lot of our, I think we mentioned this earlier, a lot of our international students or sometimes migrants, they want to open their own business as well. So they can seek out to you for help as well if they want to seek any advice about opening a business and all that.
So I think the one issue with any university courses, they don't advise you, and it's with the colleges as well, they don't actually tell you that you need to do CPE, continual professional education, and that you need a certain amount of hours before you can actually register as a BAS agent, as a tax agent, or as an accountant. They kind of leave that off. So when the students come out of university, they then try and find jobs, and because they haven't been qualified, and their language issues as well, a lot of their larger accounting firms are not prepared to take on new students because it takes so much to train them. It's just the relevance of the university or their courses have to become more relevant to small business.
Yes. And talking about training, you told me earlier that you have to train Ruby for quite a while.
We're now up to nearly 1 year, and we're still training. And we're training. So she came to me as part of an intern program. So it was one-on-one for just 3 months.
Okay.
And then and then I could hire her as an employee, and then I started providing her with work. But even now, we're still training constantly.
Great. Ruby, good. I think it would give me a good transition to you is how much you think of what you've learned in uni really contributes to your role now here with Michelle at the moment.
I think that's several years. Yeah, I think I need a lot of experience because a lot of new things come, and I need to get the it's like a suggestion from Michelle, and a lot of things I'm not very familiar.
So you mean the university, they do not give you that knowledge, or they give you that knowledge, but they do not let you do the practical side of it?
No practical, just on the paper.
A lot of theory.
Yes, and it's, accounting software is a big problem. Yes, I don't know. I just know a little Mile and Xero. I know nothing about that. Xero and Mile, I think is very popular now. But Mile, I just know a little. Xero now. So at university,
they don't teach you how to use the software or anything like that.
Just a little bit.
Just a little
Mile. And I just know double entry on paper. I know how to just write that down, the double entry, journal that. The others I don't know.
Wow. So because there's such a big gap, Samisha, what would you suggest students to do then? Because obviously there's a big gap between the real world and in theory side. What would you suggest some international students to do to maybe fill up the gap a little bit? Not
it's
all,
difficult.
But
I would like to see the university change to more of an apprenticeship program. So, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, bookkeeping is so boring and accounting is so boring, but it's all about problem solving, and every business has a unique problem and you've got to come up with a solution. Whether they're just about to go bankrupt, whether or not they're growing at such a fast pace that they can't keep up. You know, if I put one of my clients in front of you saying, you know, this client, I've got one client at the moment, he's growing at such a fast pace, he can't keep up. How are you guys going to help him? You wouldn't have that experience. It's that practical experience that you need. Now, in relation to international students, the one issue is language problems. Being able to communicate effectively with the client. That's definitely one problem. The other problem is having that experience and getting that experience. So as we were talking before, most people within Australia, if they do accounting degree, they kind of stumble in it by accident. They start as an admin position in a large organisation. They like what they see, then they start their accounting degree and work themselves up. And then once they finish, their accountant says, yeah, you've been with me now for 4 or 5 years, we really like you, here's your apprenticeship. You guys don't have that. I didn't have that either. I changed from law to accounting. And I faced the same thing. I did a diploma of accounting, so much cheaper than a degree.
You did it in Tasmania or
No, I did it on the mainland.
On the mainland, okay.
Test tape. Nothing good to say about that. I'm sorry. I started and then I changed online to a mainland tape. And that worked really well. So I did correspondence. But when I finished, then I realised, just like you, I need to get practice. I need 1,400 hours of practical experience, and nobody was prepared to give it to me. And I'm a local, so, you know, there's no language problems. I had a law degree behind me. I've worked as a trademark attorney, so I would have been a perfect candidate. So it was very confronting not having...
And how long was this? If you can backtrack, how long was that when you first started?
5, 6 years ago, maybe 7, something like that. Wow. Time flies. So it's again, problem solving. So what I've then done is I get my own experience. So I've approached a few businesses and offered my services for free. I was lucky that I was in a position to do it. I worked on a part-time basis. I got my experience, and that's how I got registered. And then I started to grow a business, a fee-charging business. But it's difficult. It's not easy. There's no way of sugarcoating this. A lot of accounting graduates will go to larger organisations and work in-house. But yeah, Tassie is small. The other issues that you guys are having is the visa requirements. You have to stay in rural areas, and because there has been such a huge influx of students, there's just not enough work. So the university and the government, you know, they haven't really thought that through, but I mean, there's no surprise there.
And I see that a lot of the small business owners here, as far as I see, is they actually use accountant from mainland, or a lot of them they actually not use accountant from here. Do you observe the same thing? Or
yes, I do see that. They're accountants and they're accountants. You can get a brilliant accountant, and some you're just like,
trust
please don't. So what they do is business people tend to stay with their accountants. So we're getting a lot of people moving from the mainland to Tasmania, starting up their business, but they're staying with their accountant. And there's no problem with that. if they wanted to use their main name accountant, especially if they have built that relationship. And it is, you build a very, very close relationship and you're taking on their personal problems. You know, I've got 3 clients going through cancer treatment at the moment. 1 client lost their daughter just recently. So, you know, and you feel their heartbreak. A couple of clients are close to losing their business, especially with COVID-19. So you become part of their family. And because you have that close relationship, they don't really like moving around. And I always say to my businesses, if you love your accountant, don't change.
But sometimes some people, they want to change, but they don't think they can change because they just thought that, I have put in so much time.
No, it's easy to change.
It's easy to change, right?
Yeah. Changing accountant or BAS agent is really, really easy. Yeah.
Yes, because that was my personal experience. I have 2 horrible accountants.
No.
And my conception was, oh my God, I spent so much time with this guy. I told him all my secrets and all my data and everything.
It's really, as long as they behave in a professional manner, which they're supposed to, changing from one accountant to the next accountant is quite straightforward. You just, you know, invite the accountant to the software, you give them a quick update, and they have the skills to be able to pick up the file and then do the next tax return. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, because definitely someone who watching this, they might be thinking of using your service, and maybe there should not be any worries if they want to switch to using your service, right?
No, and it goes with accountants as well. You just, but just because I have businesses on the mainland, I look after. So geographically, because of the technology, your accountant doesn't have to be living around the corner. They can live there. And the same goes with you guys. You don't have to be working in an accounting firm. But making those contacts to start off with is really difficult. Yeah.
So what would you suggest them to do to get in contact with these employers? Should they just knock on doors? Or should they give them a call? Or should they email them?
Start with friends. So I know that a lot of students, when they cannot find a job, they will then start their own business. And if they don't have an accounting background, very messy books. So start offering your services to friends to get that experience. Once you have a couple of businesses under your belt, then you can expand that group. That's how I did it. Started with one friend, and then I collected a few of my businesses. And the businesses that started with me when I wasn't registered are still with me.
Wow.
But you just got to be very careful that you know your limitation. So as an unregistered bookkeeper, I can't lodge any activity statements. It's basically glorified data entry person. So you do have to stick within those obligations and those requirements.
But definitely, so I think one takeaway here is you have to think outside the box. I think that's definitely something that you did, is extremely creative, think outside the box. And I think that university graduates these days, they were turned into, I mean, I don't know how should I put it, but in my opinion, it's like a factory. You are producing graduates, and there's no character, there's no creativity, there's no juice in your head anymore. And that's very sad to see. And
I think the university has a responsibility as also to ensure that the courses they provide have employment outcomes at the end of that.
Wow, they should.
They should, and that needs to change.
Because given how much money do you guys spend, like on average, let's say in accounting, how much you spend here?
60,000, I think.
60,000.
That's a lot of money. That's ridiculous.
That's a lot of money.
And then you're not employable at the end. Like you still provide all that training.
So bad.
And the government, the university have to change the system. Not that they will, but
Yes, I totally understand, and that's why there's such a big gap, and it's still growing, and every year university they seems to increase their fees, but they do not change the core that is remain the same. And,
the business ethics that we always talk about. I always talk to my clients about business ethics. Run your business ethical. What comes around goes around.
Have to be.
But don't forget, you have learned a lot of stuff. It doesn't mean that you have to end up in the accounting industry. Look at having your own business. You've got a great base knowledge. So I've done my law degree, total waste of time. I hate law. I went into intellectual property. I did like intellectual property, but I can still use those skills. You do have very, very good skills. And I love having small businesses or people starting their own small business. I encourage, even if you do decide to go down the accounting track, start your own accounting firm, become a small accountant, whether it's a mobile accountant, whether you specialise in a given industry. I want everyone to have their own business, their own boss.
So can we backtrack a little bit about your experience? Because it was very exciting to know that you came from a law background to move to accounting. What makes you decide to switch? Is there a moment of reckoning?
No. One of my twins is severely disabled, so she's got Down syndrome and autism. So that immediately made me unemployable because, kids, every Monday, every Friday, she would be sick. So an employer wouldn't take me calling in every Monday, hey, sorry, I've got a sick child at home. So I had to look at something from where I could work from home, and that was the reasoning. So while she was really young and really sick, I studied, and then as she grew up, I could start building the practice. And there's a lot of accountants and BAS agents that you'll find they're single parents or in a similar position that they just cannot be a reliable employee.
Yeah, they cannot be the usual 9-to-5 employee at all. And wow, I mean that is very inspiring because I guess it involves a lot of hard work and dedication that you put through. Because it's definitely not easy thing to
it's not easy, but now I've got not that I have much flexibility. When they say to start your own business and you have a flexible life, you have no life.
Throw away the work-life balance, right?
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Totally
when you have your own business,
totally.
You work all the time. But I don't have to listen to a sexist boss. Being a female, I do not have to put up with a sexist boss. If one of my clients is rude, I can push back. As an employee, I can't, and that was very important to me. But then my guys are pretty good. We have some great businesses, and they're funny because I usually talk on hands-free, so Ruby can hear the discussion and I can hear chuckling in the background. So it's a lot of fun. But if you can't get into the accounting industry, look at what you're good at and see if there's a gap in the market and start your own business.
Because you see, this is the reality I'm trying to share with you is a lot of the accounting graduates, or not just the accounting graduates, really any graduates, is they come here, they try to look for jobs 1 to 2 times, and then they hear nothing from the employers, and then they go back to what they know best, which is most of them would be driving Uber, driving taxi, working at Coles. Now again, I'm telling them there's nothing wrong with this, but if you believe you have more to give, you have to give more. You have to do more.
Well, if my bookkeeping firm wasn't going to succeed, I was going to go to cleaning. I was just going to become a cleaner, charge a certain amount, and do that. So there's nothing wrong. You've got to survive. There's nothing wrong with surviving. If cleaning the toilets will pay my mortgage, hey, that's what I'm going to do.
That's true.
Commercial cleaners, fabulous industry. They
make good money too, apparently.
But again, I've got a couple of commercial cleaners on the books. You have to be good with your compliance, your bookkeeping, your managing of staff, wages, payroll is huge here. It's a complex issue. All those skills you already have. Scheduling in jobs, writing proposals, that's all skills you would have learned.
So you were saying that they have to probably consider other alternatives as well, isn't it? Not just so fixated on just...
if you have a real passion for accounting, go for it. But, I have a passion for business. I want everyone to have their own little business.
So let's say, other than if you don't run this business, if you don't do accounting, what other career would you consider? Other than accounting, other than bookkeeping?
Cleaning. I would do a cleaning business.
Because it's a very good business here as well, isn't it? Big demand.
It's a huge demand. People don't want to clean. They don't have the time. You think of it if you're commercial business and you do your 9 to 5 And then afterwards, you have to do your bookkeeping. I don't know, you have to process wages. You've got to do all this other stuff. Who wants to clean? So that's one thing. Skip-ins, that seems to be doing really well. Any construction industry, obviously, there you would have to retrain, so maybe not. But if you have a background, look at what you can do and see if it applies to this market.
Yes. So if we look into Tasmania right now, luckily we kind of okay with this whole COVID-19. I hope for a long time, but what industry you think are in demand of people now?
NDIS is a huge employer at the moment. NDIS. So that's the National Disability Insurance Scheme. It's huge. Aged care, healthcare, any of those things are huge.
They recruit a lot of students, even students, right? International students too. Yeah. So maybe especially with aged care, NDIS, it's managing caseloads, managing the funding. There's a lot of admin behind it. Yeah. And when you say working in NDIS, it doesn't have to be as an aged care worker, right? They can work in different departments within that as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Because there's a lot of funding involved.
A lot of tax money goes in there.
Yes.
My tax money goes in there.
Oh, yes.
So you guys better have a job with that. It's
really money. Looking outside the square. I mean, it is hard. We are just about to have to look. So I've got a husband and he has a garden maintenance business and his body is giving up. So he's got joint issues. So we're now looking for him for an alternative business. So we're kind of in the same boat. So we're trying to find something that's COVID safe, that gives us the revenue that we need, and that doesn't cost too much to buy. I wouldn't go into franchises. If you're looking at a franchise and you like it, you can set it up yourself. And if you are looking to set up a business and don't know quite where to go, then you go and see a BAS agent or your accountant.
Or you go see Michelle.
So
she can help you with. Which bring me, this question will be for you, Ruby, is that when you first got to, so you say you started as an intern, right?
Yeah.
At what's the name? Which company again?
Rob Gary. I just search online and submit a lot of resumes, and I didn't get any reply. But luckily, I got a reply from Rob, and I go there as an intern. And then there's a chance I go to Michelle's place as an intern to learn Xero, because I met Bob with Mile, and then I go to Michelle's place as an intern, learn the Xero. So and the business is growing, and I just sat there as an employee.
Wow.
Yes.
So one thing leads to another.
Yes.
But how many resumes or how many emails you think you sent out before you got a reply?
A lot.
Can you give us a figure? Hundreds, right?
Yeah.
Wow. But what do you think makes you so persistent? Because definitely a lot of the graduates, they just try one time, two times, maximum three times, and they're like, it's just giving up.
I submit a lot, just Seek, Indeed, and a lot of government websites, and no, nothing can reply, and I'm not quite sure why. Sometimes I didn't get reply. Sometimes they just told me, unfortunately, you are not the right candidate. But I only got one reply from Rob, and then
wow.
Yeah.
So I guess at that time you must feel very delighted. You feel so happy that all the hard work pays off, right?
Yeah.
So what would be some of your advice to these fellow accounting graduates who, are moving into finding job in their field? What would be some of your advice to them? What would you suggest them to do to maybe increase their chance?
It's not just submit your resume online, to send email, search Google that the field you want to work, and send a lot of email just directly to their email address to ask if there's available jobs there, and maybe you can get one reply, just like me, and then just to grab that chance and work hard. and learn just because I think the experience is very important in Australia. So because if you don't have experience, they're not going to hire you. It's just you can search online. A lot of jobs just require 1 year or 2 years above experience. So if you don't have that, no, you cannot get that. So and another problem is because the visa problem. And I think a lot of people just like me come Tassie is for the PR, right? And when I get that PR, I have to stay here 2 years. So I need to find a job to support myself. So these 2 years I need to get the experience and make money, right? And then I get that experience, and then I can go to the mainland. I have a better job, and if you really like to stay here, you can find you already got the experience. You can just find another good job. Yes, experience is really important. And our intern program, I think is really, really great. And I just learned a lot with Michelle, and that is really good.
Michelle, can you tell them about the intern program? I think that was very exciting for them. So maybe this guy might be
Yeah, we do. We could see. So I'm getting a lot of resumes for people that would like to apply for positions, and I think all the accounting firms get bombarded by resumes, and that's why you don't hear back from them. There are just too many candidates out there for jobs available, and because of the training requirements, I think a lot of the accounting or accounting firms are not willing to take on people straight out of the university, and again, university have to review their program. So we've noticed a gap in the market, and we do provide this professional experience and training in 10-hour blocks, where students come in, they get one-on-one training on live files for 1 to 2 hours a day, and then we set them up with assignments to research what we've just done, so they understand the legislation behind what we've processed. And that's been relatively successful. But yeah, that's at a cost as well. So there are more costs involved. So if accounting is not your passion, and you cannot find anything, I'd seriously consider looking outside the square.
Yeah. So I think after listening to both of you, these are some of my common understanding is communication skill is very important.
Yes.
And also it seems like networking is also quite important. Can you tell us more about the importance of networking? Do you think they should get out there and get to know more people, and maybe that might open doors to them?
You would have known a lot of students. You would have made a lot of friends, and those friends are in the same boat. Couldn't find a job, so they started up their business. And I'm seeing a lot of small businesses pop up. If you do have friends, offer your services, help them. If they use MyOb, well, sit down, do the MyOb course, help them with their software, check if they've set it up correctly, and start advising them. Look at their profit and loss, look at their balance sheet, see what they're doing right, see what they're doing wrong. Just because they've opened up a business doesn't mean they're doing it well. I think that's one way of getting your CPE, and that CPE does count. They just have to sign off on your hours that you've worked. If you're preparing activity statements on behalf of a client, either the client has to lodge it or get a supervising BAS agent or accountant to lodge it. It's a brilliant way of getting your experience. And then door knocking. You already know so many people. It's hard work. It's not easy.
Where's that? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of. It's in a way it's a little bit unfair for us to lodge activity statements. We have to register. We have to do continued professional education, and there's quite a high high burden on us as BAS agent, as well as we have to do continual professional education with the software to become a certified user. But a business owner doesn't have to do that. They can lodge their activity statement, and they usually get it wrong. I have not, or maybe one file out of my 7 years I've picked up that was 100%. Everything I've picked up that the business owner has processed is wrong. I can find mistakes there, and some are really severe mistakes where you're just like, oh, where do we go from here?
Okay.
It's you'll be very, very lucky if you knock on the door of an accounting firm and they'll offer you an internship. They want some sort of base experience because there's just so much training involved. And you've got to look at it from a business point of view. Training are not chargeable hours. So firms work on chargeable hours to be profitable.
Yes.
That's just what it is. It all comes down to money.
Absolutely. And I told them that unfortunately, a business, they need money. So if they train you, that means they spending time on you in a way that is they're losing their money.
Yeah. And it's a tight economy at the moment. It always has been, even before COVID-19. In Tasmania, it was a tight economy. So
yeah. And I think back to that point, I think when you run your own business, do you think that the first few clients of yours probably the hardest, and then you start have more word of mouth and referrals after that, or you have to always actively look out for new clients, or they always refer you?
I get referrals now, and my website does the rest. So we're getting good clients, but we do get clients that move on. Either they grow and then they take on their own work. We get a lot of training clients, and we do get periods where it slows down. So far, I haven't had to do any advertising, and I've also noticed that now a lot of mainland firms advertising in the Hobart market. I don't know why, but they do. And I think most Tasmanian business are very reluctant to engage a mainland firm, and that's just very unique to Tasmania. But yeah, if I had to advertise, I would. But so far, we've been very stable with our work, a good reputation, and networking. Yeah, business networking.
Are you looking to maybe expand your business, or are you happy with your workload now and with the way you run it?
I think if we would organically expand the business, I have. So as a BAS agent and as an accountant, this concept I still have problems with, but you're an agent of the ATO. Not that they pay me anything, but anyway. So you need to work in the best interest of the Australian Taxation Office. So say, for example, if I was to advertise and all of a sudden I have that influx of clients, new clients, I need to make sure that I can service them effectively.
True.
So, and I've knocked back businesses, and then maybe 2 months later I could have taken them on, but I needed to service them at the time. So we have a responsibility to the client, so we've got to manage that workflow as well, and every business has, and especially in Tasmania. So if you do open up a business, it's a small business. Reputation is really, really important here. And people know, like I've heard of people that have heard of my firm, and I have absolutely no idea who they are, but they know we've got a good reputation.
Nice.
It's just a very small place. Whatever you end up doing, that reputation is really, really important. And if you don't do the right thing, it goes around really, really quickly.
Sure. Yeah. Guys, any questions for Michelle or Ruby?
Could you kindly let me know about your course structure, because we came here to know what we have to do. For example, I did work in a small organization as well. I did the Mayo, I did the Zero through online system. So I just want to know a bit more about your company. So if you are offering an internship program, so what are the course structure?
We don't offer internship program at the moment because I've got 2 students that that are now in employment, so we don't have that workload. If we were to get a lot of new businesses, I probably would look at another employee. At the moment, we offer that as another revenue stream. So for us, it's another business component in providing training, one-on-one training to students that are in between finishing their course and servicing their first client. There's a huge gap in between. You know, things like proposal, engagement letters, compliance issues. You know, would you know how to register a business for an ABN? Would you know how to register a business for GST and pay-as-you-go withholding? Would you have enough experience to know all of the ins and outs and the compliance issues of a building company with 20 employees? Like, there's a lot there that have casual overtime RDOs and maybe have a file that is less than desirable. So there's a huge gap. So what we've said is like, all right, how about we offer 10-hour blocks of training at $660. The students, I'm finding through training clients that maximum of training one-on-one is 1 to 2 hours. After that, it's a waste of time. Do that 1 to 2 hours on live data files and then discuss. So if it's, say, for example, the builder, there'd be alone 5 to 6 hours worth of research just on the payroll to learn. So why are we doing this? What are RDOs? What are the requirements of Fair Works? What documentations do you need to keep when it comes to payroll? Payroll is huge. It's incredible. And you know, you hear all this, those name and shame large organisations that have underpaid their businesses. Well, they haven't done it willingly. It's because the award system is so complex in Australia. And we as BAS agents need to know it because we have contributory negligence.
Okay.
So if the client does the wrong thing and we process the payroll, even if we don't know, we're negligent as well. And we can be hauled in front of Fair Works.
Yeah.
And you guys, I'm guessing you have not learned anything about payroll and how to read the awards and you know, how to process. So just that there are 2 different overtime rates. First 2 hours, after the first 2 hours of overtime, it's a different rate again. A lot of people are not aware of it. A lot of business
University, you
owners are
don't
not
teach that, right?
No, never. Yeah.
And that's huge. And there is a big area, especially on the mainland, HR, Fair Works, payroll, huge. That's another business opportunity.
Yeah.
It's massive because when you get hauled in front of Fair Works, the penalties are severe. We're talking a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not providing a Fair Works information sheet. I'm guessing none of you know what that is. Per breach is $62,000 for a small business.
Wow. That's a lot.
And nobody knows here what a Fair Work information sheet is. You know, it's just, and that's what I'm talking about. The gap between the university and the real world are huge.
Yeah. So let's say if some of these client guys here, they have some friends or they know some people who need your sort of service, and if they refer to you, are you still wanting more? Like, are you happy to take on referrals now? If they
At the moment we're on top of our work, so we work really hard to be always on top of the work. So at the moment, yes, we can take on new businesses. We've just taken on 3 businesses last week. They're small. Well, they're small clients. We train them up, and then they're done.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a lot of that as well, and a lot of ongoing work. But if you say, for example, if you feel that you have enough knowledge that you could take on a friend as a small business, it's worth, and it doesn't have to be us. You might know a BAS agent or accountant that is happy to provide supervisory services. So you go out there, get your own businesses, charge them a nominal amount for the work. Google will become your best friend. Not so much a university degree, but Google. I've learned lots from Google.
Thank you, Google.
And then collate the information, process the data, and then present that information to the BAS agent for lodgement or the accountant for lodgement and learn from that. Because they will come back and say, okay, I found these mistakes, learn from your mistakes.
Wow. So in a way, they all can become their own boss in a way,
Yes.
right?
That's how I did it. Because I've applied to a lot of firms, and I even offered my services for free. Big mistake on their behalf. But anyway, that's just me. They should have taken me. They didn't. So I had to think outside the square. So I've approached some businesses. I was lucky that my husband, being in the garden maintenance business, he got to know a few commercial clients. And he's like, hey, listen, my wife is doing this. And yeah, I did their bookkeeping. I mean, I wouldn't do it again, put it this way. I would not do it again if I knew about CPE and practical experience. I wouldn't go down that track again. Now I'm happy, but to start out with, there was a lot of unpaid work to get my qualification, and not everyone can do that.
Yeah, I think probably we're going to wrap up in the next 1 to 2 questions. Is for those who are considering opening their own business, I think they do not understand the amount of heartache, the amount of hard work you need to put in. What would be some of your advice to people who are considering opening their own business?
Make sure that your client knows that you're not registered. It's really, really important, and that you're working under the supervision. And most businesses don't care. They're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, as long as you get the work done. They don't care. It's Australia is really nice like that. They're just quite flexible in that respect. And then set up your structures. You need a website. I use Wix.com. It's free. Brilliant templates. You can start your own website. And then probably become a member of one of the organisations, whether it's Australian Bookkeepers Network, there's a chartered practicing accountant organisations. Like, become a member of one of those organisations, because you get a lot of resources. That's really important. And then you will grow with the business. Do a lot of research. Also join some Facebook groups. So I'm part of a few. I've got the Xero Bookkeep BAS Agents Facebook group. So they're certified BAS agents, certified Xero users. There's a Bookkeepers Accounting group I'm part of. I think CPA Facebook group. So there's a few Facebook groups, and I'm learning a lot. So never stop learning. You might even find that, hey, this is interesting, maybe I should change direction. You get a lot of tips and hints, but there's still a lot of reading, a lot of research involved.
It's never ending.
It's never ending. But in any business, even if you, for example, go down a cleaning business or garden maintenance business or whatever you decide to do, takeaway business, e-commerce business, never stop learning. Always look to improve. And that's how successful businesses survive, especially in the COVID-19 period. I've had some businesses that have really adapted really, really well because they never stop learning. They're always looking for more and more. And that's why there's no work-life balance.
Great. Thank you so much for today,
You're
Michelle.
welcome.
Thank you, Ruby, for coming. So I think, that's it for today, guys. If you want to know more about the program that Michelle spoke about, we can always email you, or we can tell you more about that. You can just send us a bit more details, information about that. Yeah, and then we can let you guys know. And one thing that I always keep emphasizing to my student is the power of networking, in the sense that you need to know who's in the industry, who is the player. Who is actually out there making moves, because these are the people, one day you might be working for them, right? Or one day you might do some business with them. So do not just hang out with your own groups of friends. I always tell this all the time, is you have to get out there. Like, for example, I never know Michelle before. She doesn't know who I am. Who the hell is this Leo guy, right? But I always reach out to new people because I believe in networking and helping each other, local business helping one another. That's what I build my business for, and same for you guys. As much as you don't think, but you are your own business. You're already running your own business. Maybe you're not aware of that. Business here doesn't have to be money transaction or anything like that, but you are your own entity. You are your own business. So how are you selling yourself now? You see, that's just the question you need to always remind yourself, okay? So thanks for coming in anyway, guys. Appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.